Um, I'm so happy to be here. Um, I was supposed to come for, I'm a filmmaker, and firstly I feel very blessed to be chosen as a Sangat, to be chosen by Guruji, to be allowed to follow him and experience his grace. So पहले तो मैं उसके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा grateful हूँ. So thank you Guruji for allowing me to experience little windows of your grace, of meher, of the beautiful Sangat around the world. Because so many of us, you know, also live a life of non-faith or do not experience. Some of us do experience a little magic and we are excited to tell everybody that we did experience. But it's okay, you know, so I think it is for each one of us to cherish, and very few of us see that and experience that in our lifetime, so thank you. I'm a filmmaker, so I was invited for the Melbourne Indian Film Festival, and I was first asked to come to the start of it, the opening night, which was yesterday, day before. And I was telling my colleagues in the office, ki koi mere saath chalo, you know, I'll just go there, then what, after a couple of days, you know, I mean, this is my first trip to Australia. So maybe, you know, we can see the rest of the continent and do something. Also, my parents' best friends I'm meeting after 25 years here. I was 10 years old, I think, when I last saw them. Anna? So, I was just excited to be here. And then, randomly, I mean, Guneet Aunty and I were talking. And हमने actually 2 साल पहले बोला था ये कि travel करेंगे और सत्संग share करेंगे. We said this 2 years ago. And every day is a satsang. And I was telling her I have to go to Melbourne for the Melbourne Film Festival. I had no plans for Sydney. I didn't even know about the Sangat. I was just like, I'll go to the festival, come back. And Guneet Aunty is like, मैं भी चलती हूँ. फिर वहाँ पर ना बहुत सोनी संगत है, बहुत समय से वो लोग मुझे कह रहे हैं आ जा, तो I was like, okay, चलो. And then the film festival guys called me and tell me, Guneet, is it okay if you come to the closing? You know, the opening has too many people. Is it okay if you come to the closing of the festival, which is on the 17th? And this plan got made, so here we are. We landed a couple of hours ago. How I started with Guruji, how I got, I mean, I think he's been around all of us for very long. It's just some moments that we realize कि अच्छा कुछ intervention हुआ है. In 2013, I produced a movie called Lunchbox, and Lunchbox released, did well. I was running a production house, and how just things would have it, we had a lot of income tax issues parallelly, and my producing partner decided to shut the company, and I just didn't know what to do. I had 5 more films that I had made, and those were suddenly all abandoned, and I just found very quickly, in a couple of months right after Lunchbox, I found myself in like $1 million of loan. Between movies, so as the outside world was celebrating my work, was celebrating me, was just so excited, Lunchbox did this well globally, I was dying. I was just inside, like, how did I even get here? I know I could not really enjoy the success of Lunchbox. And that also happened after 10 years of working. I've made more than 30 movies. And, you know, one film really broke out. But my biggest dream was the company. My biggest dream was where we were going. And all that was just taken away from me. That followed with a lot of blame for money. That followed with a lot of stuff that was just happening, which I could not understand. What have I done to be here? I'd gone to Delhi for the press conference of Lunchbox, and we were booked at Meridian. I remember going as a child to that Meridian, where पानी में से lift निकलती है. And this was my first time, staying there. And the studio had booked us a suite, and suddenly in Meridian we were staying in like a 2 BHK. I didn't even know hotels had like a 2 BHK. I was like, it was a huge space. And I called up my cousin Chachi, who I'm very close to, and I said, "आप ना बच्चों समेत मेरे साथ रहने आ जाओ. ये तो बहुत बड़ा जगह है, मैं नहीं रह सकती." I actually called up the studio. ऐसा आपसे गलती हो गई होगी. ये इरफान खान के लिए होगा, मेरे लिए नहीं होगा. They're like, "No, ma'am, it is very." So Chachi came, and Chachi said, "I'm so proud of you." She came with her 3 kids. I said, "Listen, I'm dying. I know you're proud of me and everything, but income tax, I just told her, I ranted my entire problems to her. She said, "Guruji ke paas chal." And I said, "Who talks like this in 2013? And I was like, "Please, you have lost it. Just like, cut me a slack, and I don't believe in all this." So of course, I was 28, 29 years old, and I just was really like, "Please, get a life." So she's like a very close friend of mine. So I was very direct with her. 6 months went in, the problems became even larger. They became out of control. My film, which was in question, was actually a Pakistan story. It's a film called Tigers. It was a whistleblower story of a Pakistani that we shot with a major actor in India. But because the whole Pakistan content became irrelevant and all the artists were being sold and, all the artists were being told to go back to Pakistan, and there was lots of, there was a lot of Fawad controversy and there was too much going on. The problems were bigger than me. So there was no buyer for my film. So how will I ever sell it, and how will I ever return the money? I just didn't know how this will happen. And the people I owed $1 million to became really aggressive. Things became out of control. Like they were just like, I have worked with such honesty and such dignity all my life, so transparent. I just didn't know how I was here. The dots did not join. It was beyond me to solve it. The government had banned Pakistan. How do I solve this? 6 months later, the situation became terrible. I called up my Chachi. I said, "Kahan hai aapke Guruji?" So she said, "Delhi aaja." I was in Bombay. And those days, even taking a flight to Delhi was 10,000 rupees mere paas nahi the. This is after lunch box. And I went to Delhi. She took me to Guruji Mandir. I went around the Samadhi. And there I was talking. I told Chachi, "He's not alive." So I said, "You didn't tell me that." So she just looked at me and she said, "Can you shut up?" So I literally was completely, of course, a non-believer, walking around saying, "Okay, where am I? What am I supposed to do? Acha, kya hoga? Kya karna hai?" So I was literally questioning her. So what is this? What are we supposed to do? And being a Sardarni and being like Guru Granth Sahib and Gurdwara, and just like it was very hard for me to believe this. Then we went up the stairs in the ashram, and I saw Guruji's 10 feet photos in this really colorful clothes. And I was like, this doesn't even look like a guru. So he's just really young to be a guru. So I again wrote off. There were like 200 people sitting there. I was like, India में तो लोग कहीं पे भी खड़े हो जाते हैं ना, मतलब कुछ भी करते हैं. So I wrote off the 200 people in my mind sitting there and meditating. I wrote off everything. I was like, yeah, whatever. So with that, I was walking in with my, questioning every little thing there. And his chair was there, and I saw people bowing down. So I was the next to bow down. And the second I bowed down, I don't know, I just felt like somebody has kept his hand on my head, a really soft hand. And I was crying, and I don't cry. I was so overwhelmed with my head down. With my head down, I told him, "Suno, Chachi ke Guruji, आप जो भी हो, प्लीज ये लोन चुका दो, मेरे बस की ना है. मैंने बहुत शिद्दत से काम किया. I don't know how I'm here." So that's what I actually told him. So I said, "अब देख लो यार." And I said, "I've worked with such honesty, and now I'm being questioned. And I rose as a believer. And I was like, agar ye loan chuk jayega na, I'll come here 40 times and say thank you. I was giving my own, what can a human being do? So it started like that. 7 days later, the entire $1 million came. 7 days. And my entire loan was paid off. And I was, at that moment, I looked at myself. I was 85 kgs. I was pre-diabetic. I was in a mess. I was just working so hard. You see my pictures online. I produced Gangs of Wasseypur as a 26, 27-year-old. I look like 45 in those pictures. That moment, I told Guruji कि मैं ना picture नहीं बनाऊंगी, मुझे ये करना ही नहीं है, मतलब मुझे ये नहीं करना, I'll do something else. बस इस situation से बाहर निकल, because this was beyond me, this was beyond articulation. So the minute that happened, I just took a stock of what is going on, because now this was taken care of. Somehow my company was brand new by that time, started getting a lot of advertising work, and that led me to go to Gurgaon. And mostly I would end up going on a Friday and then I would come back on a Monday, because I used to stay 40 बार, thank you, हर रोज पहुंच जाती थी कि एक ट्रिप में 4 बार ही करना, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then take the flight back. So, because now I live in Bombay, and around that time, I lost both my parents when I was 24, and I'm the only child. So I had not even dealt with grief. I had not dealt with loss. I was just working. I put all my energy into work, and I was not addressing anything. And I didn't even know how to address. बस बहुत काम करी थी, बहुत busy थी, थक गया कि रोज सो जाते थे, रोज सुबह काम पर, one film after another. I mean, Yashraj would make 5 films in a year. I, with one assistant, was making 7 films in a year. And it was not logical of what I was doing. I was pushing myself extra into work. And around that time, I was like, please help me cure. I didn't even know what I was facing. बस इतना पता था कि अच्छा लगता है. मुझे नहीं पता था कि गुरुजी की संगत भी है और कुछ प्राइवेट सत्संग भी होता है. I didn't know his name, nothing. I never even bothered to ask. I used to just go to Bada Mandir and say thank you. Kept doing that. Then one day, my first film was, Vicky's first film was with us, Vicky Goshen. So it was a film called Zuban, and we were celebrating the finish of the movie. And it was around 6 a.m. Everybody had gone home, and there were like 2-3 people, मैं, Vicky, my director Moses. हम 2-4 लोग बैठकर ना खुद ही अपनी तारीफ कर रहे हैं कि अच्छी होती है, ऐसा लगता है अच्छी होती है. तो इसके अंदर we see like 2 people standing in the balcony. This was later 2014. This was literally 6-8 months after I had been introduced to Guruji. And there were 2 people in the balcony at 6 a.m. I called them in, my childhood best friend with this new person. She just brought a +1 to the party. I don't know why I started telling him, "Pata hum bade blessed hain." This random person. I started telling him, "I'm bade blessed hain." We met this Guruji, and I was just telling him, and he took his phone and he said, "Ye wale." I said, "How do you know?" I thought this was some underground cult that I got access to. I had no idea like more people knew about this. So my perception of this was like, इसके बारे में तो किसी को नहीं पता. I'm going to tell people because I only found out recently, right? So he's like, I was born and put in his lap. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, my parents know him and I was like, I've grown up with Guruji. And he's like the 5th person in the party that I was hosting. And I knew everybody besides him. And I was like, हाँ मैं दिल्ली जाती हूँ. His name is Indroj Rai. He's Rai Uncle Auntie's son. I've actually never met his parents, but Bombay Sangat knows me. So then he told me, Bombay में भी संगत है, Bombay में मंदिर खुल रहा है. And I'm like, really? And he connected me to give me one phone number, and then I started getting WhatsApp messages. So that's how I even found out about Bombay Sangat. But every day is a miracle. I can go on for like next couple of hours. Um, and and around that time, so I just started going, मुझे जहाँ WhatsApp message आता था मैं वहाँ पहुँच जाती थी ना. And when you enter, like there are like 50, 100 people sitting. You don't know who's the host. You don't know किसका घर है. जहाँ जगह होती बैठ जाओ. मुझे नहीं पता था कि लंगर भी करना होता है. मैं बस बहुत अच्छा लगता था. I used to go. बहुत रोती थी. पता नहीं कहाँ से connection होता था. And I used to then come back. And 2 years I did this. I did not speak to one person in Bombay Sangat. Never went up on the mic. Never had anything to. I didn't even know. कभी कभी सत्संग सुन लेती थी, कभी लंगर कर लेती थी. I didn't know his name. I didn't know teachings. I didn't know following. Nothing. I was not even. I was just. And when I came out of that, I realized that I was dealing with depression, of my loss of my parents, loss of my company, the judgment that I went through. I was dealing with all of that for 2 years. And Bombay Sangat को लगता था कि they knew me by face. There were a lot of people who were actors. There were a lot. They knew me that अच्छा she's a producer. And they used to think अरे बड़ी arrogant है, किसी से बात नहीं करेगी. And I used to be like, I didn't know who to say hello and what, and I was very weirded out about Jai Guruji and about auntie uncle and everything. मुझे अच्छा लगता था. I used to go, I used to come back. And 2 years later, when I got out of it, I just realized that he held me so beautifully that I had written a mail to my friends around the world saying, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning. That is where I was. I said, I don't want to live this life. I'd rather go reunite with my parents. क्या रखा है? After a point of time when really everything you do, you want those pair of eyes to tell you that तुमने कुछ अच्छा किया. So then all that position in my life was taken by Guruji. It happened slowly over 2 years. It just happened about me surrendering, every day surrendering a little more, believing a little more, going up a little more. Now I would say it's been 5 years. And honestly, these 5 years I have not produced one film. A couple of years ago when I came out of my depression, I was going from one ashram to another, ashram in the terms of trying to do meditation, weight loss, Kerala, Pondicherry, Bangalore. And I of course lost 35 kgs. Also, Guruji made me meet somebody randomly at an airport who said, I deal with people in weight loss. I lost 35 kgs, reversed all my health issues. And the proof is online. You can see my pictures online and see what I used to do. And 2 years ago when I got out of it and I realized, and then that's when I said, I want to know more about you. 2.5 years ago. And I said, I want to know more about you. I want to meet people who have met you. And that's when Anita Aunty met. I had back-to-back satsangs in my house, apne aap. Guruji ke saath jitni sangat thi, they kept coming, they kept contacting somehow. And ab ghar mein permanent darbar hai. But that's when I started to know more and I started to see, acha, kya hota tha. And I met Raghu Rai uncle, I met so many people. And one day I was sitting down and asking him, what is my purpose of life? Because tab tak to main roz, I had one person who started with me in the company. मैं उसको ना रोज कहती थी 2 साल कंपनी बंद कर क्यों चला रहे तुझे अच्छी खासी सैलरी की नौकरी मिल गई. I'll figure something else. I'll be running this. And every day used to be like, अच्छा देखते हैं ना. And some random work used to keep coming, and he used to keep doing it. I was out of movies for 2 years after Lunchbox. That was my state of mind. I thought I'm a bad producer. I thought I didn't know my work, and I'm overcommitting, and I should not be doing this. Maybe I'm meant for something else. And I told him, "I'm loan चुका दो, मुझे ये business ही नहीं करना." So this is what I was. This was my state of mind. And then one day I sat in front of him and I said, "Please tell me my purpose. I'm very lost and very confused. I promised you मुझे फिल्में नहीं बनानी." And he gave me a vision of a movie, and I was back. I was like done. That day I done the whole movie. Next morning I started my work on it. Things started happening one after another. And I'm standing here and telling you, in the last 5 years, I haven't made one film, and I've won the Oscar. India's first film to win Best Oscar in terms of 100 years of Indian cinema. And it's a short film that I helped, I supported. It's on Netflix. It's called Period End of Sentence. Every day has been a satsang. And I'm very happy to say that now there are 30 plus people working with me in my company. It's, you know, risen from the ground. It's risen from the scratch. And it's only blessed by him. I see his grace every day, and I'm just so grateful for what he has built us. This year, we started doing Amrit Vela at home, and I think we carried that on to 55 days till I had to travel again. And I think the Oscar is courtesy that it is beyond my ask, beyond my imagination, beyond my wildest dreams. I had that $5 वाला Oscar जो Hollywood Boulevard से खरीद के गुरुजी के फोटो के साथ मैंने रखा हुआ था. And every day I would wake up and say, "अच्छा, you're working on this, right?" You know, I really